consultant, helping us prepare a building program that will be a letter to an architect who will eventually be looking at the library for redesign.
Right.
We want to build the library, or renovate the library that Douglas wants, with everyone's ideas instead of just mine and Ellie's, which is why you're here.
That's right. Trying to get a lot of input because the Mass Board of Library Commissioners gives grants, construction grants, and one of the most important elements for them is that we have public input. They don't want something that just the library director or the trustees decide is best for the town. They want something that everybody in town feels will meet their needs. So we have some prompts. This is a brainstorming session that means we'll be looking for everyone's input and there we go. And so we have some prompts to think about, to ask you. And before I, just to enlarge on what Justin said, this has to do with, the building program does not assume that the existing structure will be used or that it will not be used. It does not assume new construction. It does not assume renovation only. It lays out what the needs are for the town, what some of the things that you want to add to the library as it exists now. Takes into account the changes in library service, because you know that things have changed a great deal in terms of how we obtain information, how we deliver information, and so on. So think of it as a blank slate. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to tell me about, what do you think right now are the strengths of the library, of the Simon Fairfield Library as it exists right now? What are the strengths? What are some really good things about it?
Well, location is good, right downtown. And, C.W. Mars being part of that system. Is Libby separate from C.W. Mars, Justin, or is that the same animal, more or less?
That's a really complicated question.
But you're going to give me a simple answer, right?
Yes, and it extends farther, and we can do things clustered. Libby's just a content delivery platform.
Okay.
CW Mars has a collection. We actually have our own collection. As a Douglas patron, you can access ours, which other people can't.
Right.
You can access CW Mars, and if you go through the extra trouble to set it up, you can access everything in the Commonwealth through all the other automated networks.
Right.
This
It's
guy,
an onion.
This guy, director.
Well, thank you, baby.
It's been huge change since the past 6 years.
Oh, great.
I think the historic structure
I would say harnessing spaces within the property which have not been really harnessed before. I didn't realize the basement has all this space and all these different places you can go and other stuff you can do down there. And the attic, it's a very purpose-directed building. There's no wasted space in the whole building. That said, I can't stand up in some of the spaces.
Like the bathroom, or the attic,
Right,
or the
yeah.
loft.
What was the date of the building, Justin?
1912.
1903.
03?
I think all of the staff, Justin's included in that, but not just Justin, but the whole staff is a strength.
Round windows.
Do you want round windows on this?
Oh, round windows, oh, sure, I'm sorry.
I like the fact that we have round windows.
Those are really cool.
They are very cool. So I got,
What else? Anything else that you find really great net right now? Well, we can put this, we can leave this open, and we can move on to the next category, which is challenges. What are some of the things that are challenging about the library?
Steps.
Accessibility.
Accessibility. And you said steps, right?
Yeah.
it's not ADA compliance at all.
Parking and getting into parking.
Say what?
Parking and getting into the parking area and out.
Is the bathroom really able to be used by people if they want to, or is it really kind of for the staff to use?
The bathroom is public, but
Okay.
it's 3 feet wide.
So bathroom facilities are a little on the weak side, I would
Are
say.
you saying we have large people in town? 3 feet wide?
The bathroom works fine.
But if
No,
you
it
had-
doesn't.
If you
It's
had a
3 feet
wheelchair,
wide.
if you had a wheelchair or a walker, it's
It's not ADA, it's not ADA compliant.
No, because it's halfway down the stairs, so you have to go down the stairs to
Yeah.
get to the landing,
Yeah.
then you have to go down more stairs to get into the actual sort of
It's a
closet
it's a
bathroom.
tiny little,
And that's the only facility in the place?
right.
There's one in my office, but to get to that one, you've got to like go behind the circulation desk and through the office, and it's marginally.
Somebody with a walker would have a challenge with it.
So actually 2 bathrooms?
Somebody with a walker would have a
Wheelchair,
walker in the
forget it.
library, so.
Well, shut up.
Wheelchair, forget it, okay.
You gotta go down this?
It has a sink that's literally as big as my 2 hands.
And the public one has even the changing table. That must have been interesting, getting that in.
Yep, we had to take it apart, put it in there, put it back together.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's the term?
Another, do you have steps up there?
Yeah.
Yes, steps, yep.
The real estate property doesn't allow for any expansion left or right, maybe to the back. And there, as a former Realtor, the limits, the step downs of what we can actually expand on in the property are limited somewhat. We can go out the back. How far do we know?
Pretty much to the sidewalk on the building behind us. I mean, there's a lot of room behind us.
Yes.
And there's actually some room in front of us too, because I mean, there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
room between the front walls and the road. But not to the sides.
Yeah, not to the sides, not at all.
Not yet.
So on the side, it's the driveway is yours,
Yep.
but the property ends at the driveway.
Yep.
And then on the other side, it's just a little,
Tiny,
yeah, a little tiny strip of grass. Yeah.
10 feet.
Bank driveway?
On one side of the building, it's just wall, grass, and then the curve of the bank's driveway. On the other side, we've got like a little bit of space that goes down to a retaining wall, and then our little gravel driveway, and then the pizza shop.
Up, we can go as high as we want.
In theory.
Is there a height limit in town?
I don't know.
2 or 3, most towns have a ceiling in terms of how high you can go without violating airspace.
How tall is the town hall?
Yeah.
I don't
can't go
know.
above
It's
2.
definitely tall.
Not that we
I think
would build
even
up that
if-
high, but
I
I'm
think
saying.
even if we went up like
Even
one
the
or two
churches.
stories,
The
we
churches,
still
yeah.
wouldn't be as tall as the church across the road.
Right, exactly.
Justin, how's the circulation been? I mean, is this the physical building challenge or the
Any
life?
challenges, any
An
challenges?
existential challenge, but is it, circulation been okay? I
Yes,
mean,
circulation's actually going up.
of real books
More
or
rapidly than I would
e-books?
Expect both.
So is there a challenge?
If I buy it, it circulates.
Is
So
there-
like, what drives circulation is really just how much money I pump into it.
That's right.
So is that a challenge or not? Like increased circulation, or are we good with that?
So
I mean, like-
increased circulation can come in the next category.
Okay.
I always want more circulation.
Yeah.
So,
How is the maintenance of the building? The roofing, how's that whole structure?
it's solid. Adam says it's going to need a new roof within 10 years.
Is it slate or?
No, it's that rubber stuff,
Rubber
which
stuff,
it's not to my liking, but
Do you have central air?
No, we have mini splits,
Mini.
heat pumps all around.
Minis, but that's what we have, yeah.
Are your windows current or are they ancient?
They're ancient, but they're weatherized, which
Yep.
means they do a very good job
Yep.
of keeping the air in, but we can't really open any of them.
Right, we can't open ours.
So perhaps windows? What are some of the other challenges from your point, your perspective as users, town citizens?
Could use more space. I go down to Harrisville Library, Harrisville, Rhode Island. It's a tiny town, smaller than Douglas. There's one little crappy little side street. They have a library that's acres of room. I don't know how they got the funding, maybe Buddy Cianci at the end of his role. It's a phenomenal library. Racks and racks and racks of stuff. I'm sorry. It's just,
Justin and I went to visit there.
it's 10,
It is impressive.
It's 5 to 10 times the size of the Douglas Library. And in this tiny town, and yet they have this fantastic library. In Grosvenordale, Connecticut, another huge library, another town that has no infrastructure that I can tell. Huge library, racks and racks and racks of stuff. It just cracks me up that there are these towns which are comparable to Douglas or not, or lesser, and they have these libraries. I'm not saying they're used, but they have these libraries which are, in terms of real estate, 8 to 10 times what we have here.
Yeah, but do you think that's the future of libraries? Or do you think it's going to be e-books and e-audios?
Yeah, probably, yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying in terms of real estate,
Yeah, no, that's
Landscape.
true, but
they have.
it also costs money for
Yes,
all.
exactly, to maintain all that.
Yes, yeah, and heat it and
Yeah.
stuff.
Justin, do your circulation, right? So do you have people coming in to get more hardcover books, or do you have people doing more ebooks?
The circulation is increasing in both. Right now, we have more physical circulation than digital circulation, but that's just a matter of budgetary allocation. If I flipped what I spend, it would flip the other way. Right now, I just try to keep the queues down as much as I can for waiting. And, like, there's always people waiting for print, there's always people waiting for digital. I think the average wait time for digital right now is 58 days. Which,
Really? Oh,
Which hurts.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean, like, you can only throw so much money at it.
Yeah.
And, average wait for physical materials is, I think, 30 some odd. That's consortial wide. I can't narrow it down to us, but like I try to keep that as low as I can. I think the demand for digital right now is a lot more than the demand for print, but it also comes with like a higher accessibility piece because, I mean, not everyone has access to Libby or is capable of using Libby, whereas the books, it's pretty
Especially
simple
the-
Yeah,
technology.
here's one right
The
here.
senior population, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
90% of my seniors don't even have Wi-Fi, so, or
But
internet
you're,
device.
the reading seniors, like, they don't come into the library to check out large print anymore because I taught them all how to use Libby. So-
So,
So they're gone. But, you know, like, kids, too,
Right.
especially. Like, kids and teens have no interest in e-books or e-audiobooks. They want to read books.
Quite,
think-
it was quite a while ago, probably at least 10 years ago. I read a study that was done, it was Harvard and Case Western Reserve did a joint study of college students, asking them if they would prefer to have all their books, all their textbooks automated, you know, or if they wanted physical copies. And it was at least 50-50 that wanted physical copies, and the people, even the kids who were just beginning to have access to, it was actually a little longer ago than that, have access to non-print, still wanted hard copies.
right.
Now, you do children's programs over there, correct? During the summer, or you have sing-alongs or whatever,
Yep.
story times. That must be a huge challenge to a mother who has a baby carriage.
Oh, it's huge.
Because I'm thinking, where do you leave your baby carriage?
Yeah, or you carry it up.
You either carry it up, you leave it at the bottom of the stairs, or I bring it up. And then once you're up, you've got to go back down because all the programs happen in the basement. So you've got to go up the stairs to get in, and you got to go down the stairs to get to the program room.
And I know several parents of new children and toddlers that are looking to the library for free programs because the programs, you know, if you're a stay-at-home mom, it might be $100 to sign your kid up for 4 weeks of something somewhere. When you have a 2-year-old who's not going to remember, but to go to the library and have the sing-along or the little yoga thing or whatever Mommy Me playtime is. I know that my daughter's doing it. I know that Christine's daughter has been doing that stuff. So I think that's important for, if you got 2 kids, how you carrying them up.
So that's-
So I think access to the building is an issue. I'm looking at the front doors here, so steps and doors themselves.
Very heavy. They're not electronic?
Yep.
Okay.
Electronic doors, that's funny.
That would be very cool.
Interestingly, that is not required by ADA.
Nope.
Yeah,
What is not required?
Electronic doors.
look at the post office.
office does not-
That really floors me.
It took me
Yeah.
10 years to fight to get our bathrooms that are handicap accessible.
Yep.
To get that, and it was only because we got a grant. I signed up for ADA grant years and years, and they wouldn't give it to me for that.
Yep. And, yeah,
Who'd you get the grant from?
McKenna.
Oh.
It was an earmark grant. Because the doors down there were so heavy. These buildings with the older doors, even Webster Credit Union, you try to get in, those doors are so heavy. So I think that, yeah, the doors are definitely heavy. I've noticed that too. But that should be something.
They're
because
nice.
If you're in a wheelchair, how are you?
that's right.
For now, they need to be finished again.
The answer is you don't.
Right.
And I learned that because a friend of mine who is now confined to a wheelchair needed to use her public library in her town, and that's been, it's one of the newer projects. It's maybe now been done 10 years. And she said she was struggling with it. I said, what do you mean? ADA, they had to comply. No, it wasn't in the building program. So it didn't get put in. It will be in this building program. You know, but, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Any other challenges you can think of?
I have one that I'd like to add.
Oh, sure.
She's up there.
Speaking from the peanut gallery over here.
Hi.
We have a lack of community space. A place where people can come to gather for informally or for meetings. Just a community space where people feel comfortable.
I think it was yesterday morning, you came in and we had all the kids up on the first floor, getting ready to take them down to story time.
That was-
She needed to get into my office to sign some error statistics. There were 2 people who wanted quiet places to work, and there was a couple waiting for a notary. It's like, where?
Yeah, yeah.
It was,
Don't have it.
yeah.
So-
Everybody's stepping over each other.
Yep. I'm going to add that.
Another, I feel it would be important to add more hours to the open stuff, and that would alleviate some of the restrictions on the space, because you'd have more open hours to have meetings and quiet times and stuff like that.
You could allocate a quiet time, is that what you're saying? Like just-
No, you would open on Fridays or open on Wednesday nights. And
Oh, I see.
I think you're booked every Tuesday and Thursday night for stuff. And there's just, and that's, it can be maybe not down in the basement area, meeting room, or where the children usually meet. But, you know, they're just, our program's going on, and there's just not space for everybody to be there. But if you open the library for more hours,
What is it, hours now?
32 or something.
10 to 8, or 10 to 5, 11 to 8, 10 to 5, 11 to 8.
36,
and
I counted
9
it
to 5
yesterday
on
when you
Saturday.
sent me
Yeah,
the-
36 hours a week.
Yeah.
So why is Friday not open?
Originally, I mean, the library just wasn't open that many hours. I mean, used to, the library was open like half-time, it was only open in the evenings, and then like the schedule has kind of stretched out over the last 120 years.
Right.
But Town Hall's not open on Friday.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did it
senior
not used
center's
to be?
open on Friday. It's
I don't-
open.
The story I've
Not
heard
during the summer.
is that at one point, nothing in town was ever open on Fridays.
Right, because we used to be closed on Fridays too. About 10 or 11 years ago, we opened on Fridays. We increased.
But I mean, the answer now is just staff. Like, I could open another day if I had more staff.
Yeah,
Can you-
but that's,
can
what
you-
you- obviously, you'd put more money in the budget for staff. yeah.
Can you separate like somebody out of one day, or do you have to have more than one person there if you open, or?
I've already got Deb working 33 hours a week, Gail's working 33,
But
and
is anybody overlapping? Like, can you be there and not somebody else on a day, or how does that work?
we have to have at least 2 to stay open. So on Saturdays, that'll be a library and a page. On Mondays, there's just 3 of us in the page. On Tuesdays, there's 3 of us in the page. And on Wednesday and Thursday, Rebecca comes in too,
Yep.
so then there's 4 of us.
So can you swap somebody out for another day?
We're already like 90%, like no.
No.
If I try to
Short
stretch
answer
the
is no.
staff any thinner right now, it wouldn't work. It seems a lot of times like we're not busy because people will come in during like an off time, like between programs or whatnot. But, you know, like as it is, you know, like there's a lot of things that could get done a lot better if we had more time than we do. Because, you know, when you're dealing with the public, with programs and on the desk, it's hard to do like the other things, like track down lost items, do bills, pay things, process vouchers, do all the administrative stuff. And, you know, I think some of the administrative stuff has kind of been sliding over the last couple of years because, you know, I've just been integrated into what's going on in day-to-day operations. And, you know, if we try to stretch further, then it would just get worse. To open more hours, we definitely have to have more staff.
Now, do you have any tax work-off people that work there?
We don't. We used to, but we don't anymore. They're all seniors. They don't want to work in the library they can't get into.
Well, I'm thinking the younger ones, because I have younger ones that do like.
What, they're only
gardening.
68 or something?
Yeah, yeah. So the younger ones that.
But like circulation desk coverage isn't something a volunteer can do. Like that has to be a trained, you know,
Yeah,
librarian.
really, you
staff.
got to know your stuff.
Right, right.
And there are confidentiality issues as well. so.
At a library? Really?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I can access your record and see your address, your phone number, and what you.
And all those how to build a bomb books that you've taken out.
That meth lab that he's running in the
Well, I
basement.
mean, you can go to the clerk's office and get a book, a residence book, and see all of that, right?
Well, except that the police and fire or safety people are not included in that,
Okay.
which is very sad. They used to be. That's one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
I look forward
The
to that.
nosy book?
The list, street list.
Yeah, we call it the nosy book.
Oh, I call it the street list.
As
I
soon as
love
we get
it.
it, it's like 2 hours. All right, those are gone.
But then you have to go back again and again and again.
So any other challenges you can think of right at the moment? Not, we can move on to the next category, which is opportunities. What opportunities, when you're looking at the challenges, the strengths and the challenges, and rethinking the library and its use, what are the opportunities that you now can take advantage of? Change something.
Justin, for for the website of the library, is its goal information only or mostly, or is it also to try to get people to engage in library programs? Is that,
Aren't they the same thing?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, it's like informational and also marketing and, library evangelism. Because we've got the blog that we keep, and we've got, like the links to all the resources we offer. But yeah, I would love for people to come, read the blog on a regular basis. I put your history snapshots in it. I put, good local poetry whenever it comes to me. Anything that people can contribute to the literary record of the town, I like to have there.
Wowberry,
Wowberry.
every week or so. We're right on Main Street, so there's 10,000 cars that go by there every day. So central location is opportunity.
So as you've asked these questions to other groups like ours,
Yep.
what kind of answers are people putting for opportunities? I mean, is it like harnessing the internet better, or?
It's
That's
really,
kind of a vague word. in a way.
it's kind of all over the place. It
Yeah.
really is all over the place, and it depends on who the group is.
Yeah.
Asking the kids, you get a different set of responses from asking the adults and things like that.
Yeah.
But I prefer to let you folks think about it yourselves. You don't want to be influenced by what other people.
Yeah, I guess I have a trouble figuring out when you say opportunity. Like, do you have opportunity to become president of the United States? Well, kind of, but not really.
Well, right. Sure.
I mean, maybe you'll run and maybe you'll get elected.
Right,
So,
right, yeah. Yeah, no, just
It's a vague
thinking
word,
about.
I guess.
So it is a vague word, and it's purposely pretty vague. But it's saying, all right, we go in there every single day, and we know that the doors have to open, and we know that it may be crowded in there. Okay, we get to throw out the existing. I don't mean quite literally, but
yeah.
think about, what does this allow us to do? It allows us to rethink some of the things. What are some of the things that we can take advantage of if we're rethinking? What opportunity does it provide for you to change some of the things that could be changed?
I've got one.
Okay.
I think a good example. Separating collection space from meeting space. That way people can still come get the DVDs whenever we're having a book club in the DVD room. Or, because we wouldn't have to have the book club in the DVD room.
Your office is very crowded.
Yes. I don't have an office. It's been reclassified as the workroom now in the official.
Right, so there you go, provide admin offices.
What was the one you wrote previous to the last one?
So, central location, separating collection space from meeting space.
What does that mean?
Means the books, so that when Justin's having a meeting in the room where all the DVDs are, and people want DVDs, if they want to go in there, they either have to interrupt the meeting or wait till the meeting's over.
And a lot of library patrons are shy, so they're just gonna come in and look in, and we're gonna mill around and go.
Move away.
Accessing all the space which David was talking about, both the basement and with something like an elevator or an addition on the back of the building that would allow an elevator to go up to the attic spaces as well. It's just not just to the second floor or the main floor and the basement.
We do have really nice attics.
I need to take a tour. I've only been on the main part.
No, I mean, sometimes.
Sometimes it's creepy up there, too.
Let me
it
take
is
that
fascinating.
and go somewhere else with it.
Sure.
I've come from the business world, and in the business world, they often store inventory in equipment that takes it out of, moves it around, and you can access it by punching in a code. So if you want this book and it's hidden off somewhere, you can access it and it'll come right out. So elevators in a different sense of the word.
So is that less work on the people that work at the library, or?
Storage space could be probably quadruple.
So are these friendly machines? I mean, as friendly as
They
the
reach out
staff?
and grab you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're easy to use.
Yeah.
Well, it is a model that Justin's using right now. I mean, he's storing stuff in the attic, but it's not electronically accessible. Somebody has to physically go find it.
Have you been up to the attic?
I have multiple pictures.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Oh, just trying to crawl up that
Yeah,
space,
yeah.
too, is
Yeah,
scary.
and then the creative use of the pool noodle to block, so that you don't whack your head on one of the pipes.
Rebecca whacked her in really hard, so we wrapped it with pool noodles.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, but, and then, so it'll be interesting because the attic, just because of the configuration of it. And some of the creepiness. What else? Any other opportunities? All right, let me move on to the next one, which is kind of an enlargement on opportunities. And this has come straight from the, one of the considerations that Mass Board of Library Commissioners building consultants want you to think about. If a tornado or any other catastrophic event took the library out today, what would be your ideal, wonderful, what would you do if you had to deal with not having that building?
You mean other than build it back?
Well, how would you build it back? Or would you, number one, would you build it back? If so, what would it allow you to do in building?
Well, I need to see what the budget is.
Exactly.
He's finance committee, by the way.
That would explain some of that.
I mean, that would be the question anyway, right? What kind of funds would you?
You'd build an arch right over Route 16, like something out of Venice, like a Ponte Vecchio with library books right alongside it. So people, every time they drove downtown, they could see the library books in there.
So I want some clarity here. Are you talking about the interim between now and whatever final is, this gray area, or are you talking about the final area?
Oh, but if you had to, today,
Dreamscape.
yeah, if you had to, today, you had to, absolutely, you couldn't use the library. It wasn't there anymore. What would you do for a permanent replacement?
Go up here, the second floor here.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
Tons of
we've
space,
mentioned
tons of
before,
space in this
but
building.
the town has a different view of it.
I walked through the entire upstairs
Yeah, it's quite
earlier.
nice.
Again, it's huge,
Yeah.
15 classrooms. Still at the Ponte Vecchio thing.
That would be nice.
And the upstairs is accessible by elevator, right?
Yes, it
Is
is.
there bathrooms up there?
Yes.
Little baby
At the back
bathrooms.
I've been up there, but only in like certain rooms.
Yeah, yeah, but they're tiny toilets and stuff like that. But,
So is the elevator the one that's at the gymnasium?
yeah.
So what are some of the other things, I guess, that you'd like to see in your ideal library, now that you're not limited by preserving your beautiful building, by the existing walls, by the lack of accessibility? all
Less
those
stairs.
things.
No stairs.
No stairs, okay.
ADA compliant, yes. Media room, like a theater. So that you could watch movies, present films.
Justin, what's the buzz among your fellow professionals on where tech is going in the future in terms of the whole e-book and all that kind of thing? Is there a sense that 20 years from now, we'll have very few physical things or
No.
not?
There's not.
What's the chat among your group?
Book demand isn't flagged at all.
Okay.
Like, if you go back, well, I mean, all the way, demand for books has not flagged at all. Demand for digital is increasing at a faster rate, but, it's not an either-or scenario, it's a
Right.
both, because
Right.
people have different preferred ways of consuming information, and we're just making more types available.
So you think back in the olden days, you might have VHS tapes as part of the library, but I think only Ellie uses those now. And then DVDs.
I do have a VHS
DVDs are probably
player.
good.
I got
too.
dozens of them.
It's too soon to tell.
Okay.
Streaming is what, a 7-year-old technology? There's already a lot of backlash against it. We don't know how it's going to affect intellectual property rights and copyright and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And, right now, I'm on a quest to gather up as much physical disc material as I can, whether it's software, games, DVDs, music, whatever, because it takes almost no space to store. The shelf life is really, really long, and you've got a lot of people who, you've got a lot of Luddites still, and you've got a lot of young people who are, the pendulum is swinging the other way. How many kids do you know who use Facebook?
Well, how many people under 50 use Facebook?
Right. My
Facebook
kids
has become-
are 40 and 41, and they
Facebook
use
has become our
Facebook.
parents',
Yeah.
toy
Instagram,
now.
Snapchat.
So now it's not cool for kids anymore. And, the up and popular services that you see popping out are, artistic, creative vinyl subscriptions. Those are huge right now. You never know what's going to pop back out.
Right.
That's true.
But the thing about, digital overdrive, it's all dependent on a few key servers, a few key companies, a few key, junctures. If any of that evaporates, that entire system of content delivery evaporates. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. And
Yes, it's constant flux.
so, we're navigating the wave as best as we can, but I don't think print is going anywhere. The majority of professionals see physical collections remaining important, not for historical preservation and archiving kind of stuff. You don't want a massive library full of dead volumes that no one is ever going to read. But you want as much Colleen Hoover as you can keep on your shelf. Because people will check it out digitally, but you're also going to have people coming in wanting for the books all the time.
Right.
And especially, like right now, it's summer reading time. Kids are after all the books for summer reading. There's not enough copies. We've got to keep them in. Hope every town doesn't decide to do the same book, because then CW Mars is screwed. But it's, yeah, the print demand isn't, I'm not worried. I don't think that we're going to need stacks and stacks and stacks of historical volumes that we have digital copies of. But, popular mainstream reading material and what kids and teens are reading, they're always going to want books. And their parents are going to want them to have books.
Right. When I went down to the Harrisville Library a week ago to drop off books, there was a mom with 3 kids. She must have dropped off 20 picture books. Oh, no, kid picture books, 20 at least. And that's what I see all the time. And they have a whole second floor, which is all the kids section, no elevator, but tons and tons of picture books. And I read cookbooks all the time. I look at recipes online, but if I really want to work through some cookbook, I need to see the cookbook in person and read it in person to go through the process, and it can't be done really online very well.
I think, David, you and I are the cookbook
Yeah, we probably
People. Keep him busy or keep Gail busy.
I know Ellie and David books whenever I buy them.
yeah, and every time there's a new cookbook in,
Yeah.
I nail it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go.
And
That's
yet,
funny.
one of my cousins asked me well, she just sent to the whole family, does anybody have a copy of The Joy of Cooking? There's a particular recipe that her mother used. Can you, and of course, on my shelf, in my kitchen, I'm the one that
Yeah, I have it, I have the book. Yeah, we have
Yeah,
to go.
Which edition, though?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I
well,
have
it
2
was-
different editions.
1962.
And same with Fannie Farmer, I have 2 different editions.
Whatever edition it was, it had what she was looking for.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not sure.
I just picked up a copy from, again, Harrisville Library, the Toll House Cookbook. I sold the Toll House down in Whitman, Mass. It was built in 1709. The actual inn was built in 1820s, and Ruth Wakefield, who developed the first chocolate chip cookie, she was chopping up chocolate chip pieces before they were chocolate chips, and expected them to melt inside the cookies. And they didn't, they only partially melted. And so she developed this chocolate chip cookie. Eventually, the Nestle rep in New England said, who's going through all these chocolate chip pieces down in Whitman? He visited her and said, if we can put your in on the front of the package, we'll give you all the chocolate chips you ever need the rest of her life. So she got a great deal out of that. And as we know, the Toll House cookie package that we all see is now on that package and has been for the past 60 years. So,
And I was just at American Library Association convention in Chicago. They have everything, all the displays. They had a display of a CCC cookbook, a recreation of an old CCC cookbook. So there's just all kinds of things. And I looked at it and I said, boy, that'd be really cool, but so many libraries don't have room for things like that anymore.
But that's what interlibrary loan is.
That's
that
exactly right.
archival stuff, it's just great to
Yeah, so
have.
You don't have to have it.
You don't have to have everything, correct. Any more things that you would want if you were building a library from scratch?
Well, AC, thermal control, yeah.
HVAC, yeah.
Thermal control. You're challenged on that. So much of that archival stuff needs to be kept at certain temperature and humidity.
We're actually really good on what we have. The problem right now is equalizing the temperature on the
Yes, exactly,
Because
yeah.
it's so many different mini splits connected to the same outdoor
Yeah.
pumps, and you can't run them on opposite settings.
No,
Right, so that's what, yeah.
So doesn't that raise the issue of backup electricity, so that you have backup thermal?
geothermal if you can get it. Run geothermal, run it into the ground.
Where we go down to hell or something?
Yeah, we go down to hell.
Just I gotta get going. So-
Okey-doke. Thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. From one finance committee
See everybody.
to another.
Yeah.
We got 20 minutes.
So, anything else? Building it from the ground up. That's probably a better way to say it than 20.
Well, I think that the library's doing this already, or about to, where they have an archivist there, and who is going to also look at the town's archives, which are up here right now.
I hope so.
And there are some requirements for retaining documents that the town has, and that's what they're running into a problem. And I'm not sure if the rules have changed where you have to have it kept as in the paper form that it is, or if you take pictures of it, what's that called?
Microfilm?
Microfilming.
Yeah.
Is that
Or
good
digitized.
enough? Or, do you send one copy to Iron Mountain or something like that and then keep a copy here? But how often do they access up there? But including the library in, which I think is great, in the archival needs of the town.
So a big walk-in safe, Justin, you keep it.
No, you can't, you don't even have that. I mean, you could have it in several different places, but I used to deal with Iron Mountain every so often, and it was quite an impressive place, and there was one cave area in New York State, and that's where your primary microfilm would be stored.
What is Iron Mountain?
Iron Mountain.
It's an archive?
It's,
library.
yeah, well, you'll see driving around trucks that say Iron Mountain on them.
Never seen it.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, this is when I worked for a nuclear power plant, so we had to, and it was right after 3 Mile Island.
Okay.
And we had to microfilm all the engineers' papers, which
Documented.
were piled in their offices. And back then, you had, computer printouts that were
Sure,
this
yeah.
tall and everything. So it was, and then catalog them. So that's where the library person comes into it.
So Iron Mountain is an archival?
Yes, but we would also have to have it at the nuclear plant and at the headquarters where the microfilming was happening and stuff. So
Where is it based?
Iron Mountain, I think there's different locations, but I went to visit the one in Upper New York State. So if you take Route 90, it's
I'm
like
a
the
native
first
New Yorker.
exit.
I'm a native of New York, so I know New York.
Okay, so it's the first exit after you cross over into New York.
Okay, after
And
Schenectady,
you go
yeah.
south for, I don't know,
So maybe we should expand underground.
yeah,
Well,
right.
you know what?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would say an outdoor space. I think if we learned anything after COVID, that an outdoor space is very important on a community level, and just to have a nice outside space.
So that goes more with an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your library patio and cafe.
I got Eagle Scouts about to
Hi,
build.
I'm Raul, I'll be your
one out
help for
front.
today. Try the veal.
We don't have to provide food, there's food all around us.
Is there a library at the high school?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely want to take a tour.
but people aren't allowed into the high school.
So there is a library at the high school. How about integrating this library with the high school library?
Because we're not allowed to interact with the
Not
students.
allowed.
Don't can't meet. Don't ever
Never
say
the
can't.
twain shall meet.
So there
We don't
there
want
are, in, one of the branch libraries in Worcester is in one of the public schools. And it was built as an addition to the school, but it was not the school library. And Ellie's right, there are restrictions about people walking
Yeah,
into
yeah,
school, anybody coming and going in schools, for one thing. The second thing is the functions of the library, of the school library are different from functions of a public library.
Right.
So there are, not that it can't, but it's not a simple thing. There are a lot of,
Yeah, I think that can't is right between the ears.
and so.
So there's
but
always
there
a
are
way.
There are a lot of reasons not to do it.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
but we're brainstorming.
Right, exactly, exactly. So unfortunately,
Tunnel.
the safety thing right now is something that is tricky with integrating schools. Anything else? Brand new, start from scratch, build from the ground up, invent.
Multi-level parking.
Can you do that? I'll ask it that
Does it
way.
exist anywhere in the Blackstone Valley?
It's a big problem, because like right now, we're in the middle of our summer reading program. During like the big Wednesday morning events like we do yesterday, like staff tries to find other places to park.
Yeah.
And then when like the first patrons, like we're like, all right, like really squeeze in. And we've got a 14 lot spot car, we have room for 14 cars, and we've had like 20 back there
Yeah.
frequently.
There's room to expand, I would think, if you sheared off literally more of the back, you could put in more parking space.
More than 14 spots requires full ADA compliance.
There we go. That's the comeuppance. Yeah.
So one of the opportunities is to expand parking. You have the opportunity to do that. But starting from scratch is, can you do multi-level parking? Anything else? I have one more category. If you have anything else for starting from the ground up, here's the very last category called If Money Were No Object. Too bad Finance Committee Chair left, Finance Committee Rep left. If money were no object, if you had a blank check, what would you like to see in the library as it exists now, as it could be if you had a brand new building, anything? What, if money were no object, what would you like to see?
One of the things I would do is buy a pizza shop next door and tear it down.
Yeah. Or get first refusal type of thing
Yeah.
on it, or have,
The building's gone.
Yeah,
It's a historic building.
yeah. You could use it
I'm
for
historic
that,
commission chairman for the town of Douglas.
Then I will move it.
or have it as the director's office, and
Right.
he could bake pizza.
And then he can make pizza. You could learn to make better pizza.
So the pizza shop is a historic building?
Yeah,
It's yes, historic, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm
1840s.
sorry, I was thinking like, okay, or,
What about the bank? By the bank?
The bank. I'd say buy the bank before I'd buy the pizza building.
Fine,
Yeah.
already has parking.
That used to be a Hunt's.
yeah.
Hunt's,
Oh. And Dr.
building.
whatever is
Yeah,
Spooner's.
Yeah,
Dr. Spooner's
yeah.
office. Yeah. Okay, so first refusal on,
so money were no object, what else? What would
Then I
you-
would make the whole building ADA compliant.
oh, yeah. Anything you be doing on the building, spending that much money, you have to
Well,
do
the Ponte
the
Vecchio
ADA.
is
There is, with a historic building, you get a little leeway for certain elements of it.
Yeah, but in this case,
But-
you need the access, you need the toilets, you need, there's things
You
that
don't
you
get
just
leeway.
need.
It's like
Right,
really
those
major.
those all have to be provided. But if some,
And if money was no object, I would want to ignore the leeway and make everything kosher.
yep.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, it's mostly, it's more like structural leeway, that you can't, so in Spencer, we had a little bathroom on the first floor that could not be made accessible, but could not be moved. You couldn't do anything else because of the way the walls were. So they allowed it to stay, and staff can use it if in an emergency if they need to, because there was literally nothing that you could do with it.
We can do a ramp.
Yeah.
We've discussed that. We can do a ramp to get ADA compliant.
Yep. So what are some of the other things? If money were no object, what else would you like?
How about increasing the staff and extending hours?
Yeah, morning hours would be nice. If you're open at 8. I'm up
Or
at 4, I'm
9.
up at 4 AM. And I have to wait till 9 o'clock before anything else is open.
I don't know about anybody else, but I never know when the library is open.
10.
The hours just
Or
keep
11
switching
on
around, and
Tuesday
I'm
and
saying,
Thursday.
well,
And it's
stay
10.
there.
And 9 on Saturday.
Slackers.
Yeah, consistent
I
hours.
know you're open late. Do what you can.
Tuesday's an 11-hour day.
I'm going to have to get going. See you later.
All right, thanks, Elaine.
Thank you. Thanks. Anything else you can think of? Money were no object.
Don't get me started.
That's
And I
the
will
point.
say, you know, things like, in other instances, things like fountains and swimming pools and all those kinds of things. People were just,
Yeah, the Rockettes. We want the Rockettes.
right, yeah, sure, those kinds of things.
All right, so one other item, which we dabbled on, is multi-level parking.
Yeah, you already mentioned it.
If we can't buy the bank and can't take the pizza place down, then
Could you park cars in the pizza joint and keep it historically intact?
Aren't there apartments, there's apartments behind the,
Yeah.
behind the library?
Mrs.
as well.
Colinaro's.
And that lot.
This is where you're supposed to.
not enough to mention.
Oh, drive-through. That's right. That's what I want.
Drive-through?
Drive-through. So you could just, like the bank, you could just drive through. You'd say, I'm picking up books, or here are my books I'm returning, so you don't have to get out of your car and go up the stairs or up the elevator, down the elevator, whatever.
I'm not a drive-through guy, but whatever, fine. Through.
I'm glad I thought of that.
It's like the single most asked for feature from the homeschooling community. Like during the focus group for them, that's what they want, because they don't want to have to get 3 kids out of the minivan to come in. They've already got all their stuff on hold because they brought it in CWMRs, through online.
And that isn't good enough.
They just want to exchange books.
Justin, is there anything else that you know that people want?
Yeah, because I forgot
Well,
about that.
they've mostly been covered in other focus groups.
Drone book delivery.
Home book delivery.
Drone book delivery. The kid is going to drop it at your
Gail's not good enough for you?
Yeah.
I like Gail.
Pick up.
It's going to drop it in your backyard, boom, there you go.
There are people who want to get to the library who can't.
Oh, so yes, I know.
Drones may help, but drones may not be in the right place. I mean,
Just
it's out in
throwing
the
it out.
yard, and I can't get out of my house.
So drone book delivery would work.
Just use e-books, man. It's so much easier.
So, anything else you can think of?
I kept on thinking of something, and then these ideas would come up, and then I've forgotten them.
I'll wake up at 2 in the morning and think of something.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
right, exactly.
Well, if you haven't done the survey, then be sure and do the survey.
I did the survey.
Excellent.
High capacity storage.
And you have a card, ma'am? Or is that obsolete?
I do have a card. Yep. So you can, yeah, and you can contact Justin or me with anything else that you can think about. So I want to thank you all for coming, and thank everyone else. If you have anything else, that's fine. Otherwise, you can go off about your rest of your day. Thank you so much, all, for coming, and let me just see which pocket the cards are in.